Sure, we've all played against it in solo queue, it's terrifying. When she falls behind, she really does not offer all that much in terms of peel, and that could make her look really bad, like we've sort of seen so far here in the LEC.
Yeah, what I'm interested now is Upset. I hyped him up in this intro here. He now has his pocket Yuumi. He can basically just perform Upset on like a mega juiced up scale here with that partner. We also have the Ryzokin, who is a very powerful pick right now that Yuumi works really well with too, with that move speed boost.
I would like to see what Upset can do with the additional support. Do you have a preference in champion that you like to pair with Yuumi?
See, I was actually looking at the likes of an Ezreal, but I think safe AD carries in general work very well with the Yuumi. That's why I was liking that Fnatic went for a very early Sivir, because it pairs well with Yuumi, and it's also one of Reckless's best champions down there. The Xayah does similar things at level 6. You get that safety, you get that self-peel, which is so important with the Yuumi. But earlier on, it is potentially punishable.
Well, let's see what the answer is going to be then for Hylissang. His Rakan has been taken away. And of course, with the Yuumi off the table, we'll see what sort of phase 2 picks go. Lux into Yuumi is something, something I've seen a little bit, but I want to see what other options Hylissang decides to go. And the Rek'Sai will be the jungler.
Yeah, we've seen Lux, we've also seen hard engage supports do very well. Anyone that can just jump on an AD carry and CC lock them. Something like a Nautilus or an Alistar perhaps could be a good option here for Fnatic to pair up with a strong ganking jungler in that Rek'Sai to try and attack bot lane early.
And as Fnatic have locked in their jungler, they're going to start targeting Trick now, limiting his champion pool. New face on Schalke obviously coming in here in the summer split. His first few showings have been pretty decent, I would say, and he has definitely given a bit of a spark to the Schalke lineup. Taking away some of his champions here, though, we'll see what he defaults to.
Yeah, it is interesting. Trick came in and, you know, the team's been outspoken about how much shot calling prowess he has brought to the team, how he's leveled them up in terms of smarts inside of the game and knowing exactly where to be on the map. He's very good at tracking an enemy jungler, which is going to be very important against a pick like the Rek'Sai.
And not only that, against a player like Broxah, who has been game-changing in the debut here in the summer split for this Fnatic squad. Second man for Fnatic is going to be the Rumble, taking that off the table. And Schalke will have one more option, whether they continue to target that support pool, or if they want to limit maybe some of those other solo lanes.
I like the Rumble ban here from Fnatic. It's a champion Odo's gone for twice already this split, and Odo has had a style much more focused on team fighting with his team. You know, the Aurelia was the other champion he played alongside this Rumble, whereas Bwipo is much more focused on the 1v1 lane, on splitting up the map and having strong side lane pressure. So it is good from Fnatic trying to remove team fight options, try and isolate that 1v1.
The benefit here of Fnatic having the last pick in this draft, that means they will most likely get the counter pick in that top lane, or maybe mid, depending on where the Silas goes.
Ooh, where's the Pyke gonna go, though?
That's a good question, though, right? This is the thing here. This is a mega flex right now. Pyke could be Hylissang's choice, one of the best Pyke lane support players that we have in Europe. Or it could be a G2 special going to one of the solo lanes.
Yeah, it could go to the solo lanes. I expect it to be for Hylissang, both because, as you said it, our best Pyke player here in EU, but also it's very strong up against the Yuumi. Having the hook spell, you saw, they banned 2 hook champions. Pyke's the last one left.
After I had a small misspeak earlier, I'm going to add one clarity. Best support Pyke in EU, because I think the best Pyke player is up for debate.
Wait, I think Mickey X is a better Pyke player than Wonder.
Oh, there we go. So let's figure out where Hylissang and Bwipo rank once this final champion gets locked in. Twisted Fate secured. Silas top, TF mid, Pyke box.
Yeah, this is really cool here because we've seen a lot of different styles of Twisted Fate. You're all used to the full AP TF, which we've seen brought out over in the LCS, but there's another pick that's been floating around in solo queue recently. It's the AD Twisted Fate with items like the Trinity Force, going for the Kleptomancy. We may be seeing that here from Nemesis, but we'll have to wait until we get into game to be sure.
It's got a lot of a stronger early wave push, like harass, than compared to the Mage TF, which takes 1 or 2 items to get online, which is pretty good into this Rise matchup. For me, what I actually like about Schalke's kind of answer to TF, even though this was the last pick, is Yuumi in general. When you have teleport on your AD carry, that's kind of like having double TP, right? Because Yuumi will follow the teleport. So if Twisted Fate decides to go to a different lane or whatever happens, Yuumi will be able to respond. You have an extra person there to respond to the TF ult.
And of course, the Fnatic playstyle with champions that can help out Reckless or move to those parties in the bottom lane. It's Schalke taking on Fnatic. Well, we were going to have a video there. While we're waiting for the video, thank you for the cheers. It's Schalke taking on Fnatic. I have a quick stat for you. The last time we saw Twisted Fate here on the European big stage was in summer of 2018. Senkux piloted that champion. It was, in fact, a victory as well.
I remember that game. I believe he was running the Grasp of the Undying as well on that. So it's a champion that's been a little bit, has some freedom in terms of summoner spells, and I'm already getting a look at it. It will be that Klepto TF.
All right, Kleptomancy TF, as we are attempting to load up into the game, can let you guys at home know that the game is in the loading screen right now, but we're not yet onto the Rift. And I do have one more fun fact. Ender and Foxdrop, what matchups, champion-wise, has Reckless and Fnatic played this split? I'll give you an answer. It's only Sivir into Xayah or Xayah into Sivir. Those are the only things he has faced off in the last 4 games. So we need to take a look at how well he does. In terms of Reckless's average CSD, it is minus 3.5 over the course of his 2 previous Sivir versus Xayah games. And obviously we are in a technical pause at the moment, ladies and gentlemen, so we will continue to look at these drafts and we'll figure out exactly what is going to be happening once we get onto the Rift. In terms of the composition, on the side of Schalke, Ender, what's your read, what's your take? It seems pretty meta, pretty safe. Double AP top, and they've got a strong scaling ADC.
Yeah, they've got a lot of interesting options here, and I think the coolest thing for us to track through this game for Schalke is how they utilize the Yuumi, because Yuumi is a champion that, once you reach mid-game, isn't all that great at just attaching to your AD carry. But what she excels at is enabling your initiators. So, if she pairs up with the Olaf or with the Kennen, it gives Schalke a lot of tools to try and force fights, and off the back of Intelligent Realm Warps 2, they can try to find these very advantageous fights for themselves.
I like what Fnatic have drafted for themselves as well, because what we saw out of them in the Origin game was a real proactivity, something they were able to bring to Origin to get that victory out of them. And having someone like the Twisted Fate with the ultimate coming down, it enables you to attack these side lanes, to maybe dare I say, go bot lane and help Reckless out as a Fnatic player. So it's something where Fnatic can definitely have the tools to get ahead in that early game.
Well, we'll have to figure out if that works out. As an update, it was Upset's PC that did not load into game. He reset his client. And as you can tell by the chants here in Berlin, we will be loading up onto the Rift for Schalke to take on Fnatic. Better late than never. We're finally on the Rift, ladies and gentlemen. And we have talked a little bit about the 2 compositions and how they can, of course, play. But as I have 2 junglers side by side, Trick on the Olaf versus Broxah on the Rex side, where would you like to see them start? And you know, where do you want to see them prioritize their time?
Olaf is a really, really good AoE clear early game. He's like one of the fastest clearers of the jungle, with a caveat being he has to be low on health to really make it happen. So what we've seen a lot nowadays is people prioritizing the Krug camp because it gives you the most experience. And what you do is you start bot side or top side in Fnatic's case. You get that Krug in the early clear. You can get a really fast level 3, but only taking 3 camps. You have pressure right from the get-go with the level 3, and then it sets you up around, you know, like 3-4 minutes. To then go back and look to do something again after you clear the Krug on the respawn.
Yeah, I think one of the interesting things when you compare these 2 champions, the Olaf, you mentioned, has a very fast clear, and usually we see him go for like the full clear to get that fast level 4, whereas the Rek'Sai can go for the fast level 3 and have really good impact with all of those abilities. You know, sometimes Olaf's just like to full clear that jungle, get a reset, and then really overpower pretty much anyone they find in a river duel.
Well, let's see whether or not they can find that River Jewel, where they can look for those initiations. The champions that I'm going to be watching this game is obviously the supports between Ignar and Hylissang, because Ignar on this champion may have the first opportunity to pick up a win. It'll be a surprise against Fnatic, who are currently on form and undefeated. Yuumi 0-4 across 2 weeks of LEC.
Yeah, and it's going to be a hard game to play Yuumi in because as we alluded to during the draft, Fnatic have a comp built at coming bot lane and punishing the pushing Upset and Ignar with the early game pressure of a Rek'Sai who's going to be pathing down and the level 6 threat of a Twisted Fate. That's going to be really important. But if you'll notice right now, Trick has cleared his red buff and gone immediately into Fnatic's blue side jungle. This gives Schalke's bot lane the presence to be able to push up in that lane with relative safety.
And what I like about it as well is it's a good read for exactly what I was describing before, where junglers like to go for the red into the Krugs and then get that early level 3. Trick knows that Broxah is very likely going to be doing that and has punished him by taking his bot side jungle, but Broxah is going to actually scout him out here, take a few mini chickens, put a ward down, no harm, no foul.
No harm, no foul. Got a little bit of information instantly cleared out here by Trick. And I just got a quick glimpse there of Nemesis running this Twisted Fate. He's got the Klepto, currently sitting on the Corrupting Potion. I haven't quite looked at his runes and masteries yet, so I want to talk about whether or not he's going to go AD. But you can see there is the Keystone choice.
Yeah, so here we go. So he's going to be rocking the Kleptomancy, and it's just really easy for him to trade with that in lane. You know, you press the W, that instantly triggers that. So any sort of auto-attack trade is just going to be generating you a lot of money. What I expect him to go for in the build path is that Trinity Force. And I think this build, really, by going AD, it allows you to get in some really cool things, because Triforce is actually a super powerful item on Twisted Fate. Not only does it give you the Sheen proc that every TF loves, and that's why they go, you know, for the Lich Bane so often, but you also get, you know, the extra attack speed from the Stinger in that build. You get the movement speed of the Phage too, and your second item can be a rapid fire cannon for the max range stun.
Well, let's see if he's going to get helped out by Broxah. Yes, he does, but it's a fight to multiple fronts. Upset and Yuumi, they're forced to flash away defensively, and so is Abadage. Advantage Fnatic.
Yeah, flashes all across the board, and this makes the game so scary. The next 5 minutes, Broxah will have his flash, and either mid lane or bottom lane will have it, so they have to be absolutely on guard.
Not just for Broxah as well, but Nemesis on this Twisted Fate. We talked about how he might want to be looking bot lane this game to be helping them out. What an easy target if there are no summoners from Schalke.
Foxtrot, that's so right. Nemesis already roaming. He's got a teleport available to him. Hylissang with the flash hook manages to catch. Upset under the tower. First blood secured. Abadage completes the teleport, and do Fnatic fancy more?
Oh, that was such a clean dive there from Hylissang. He flashes over Upset to hook him out of tower range and land the E. The crowd goes wild as well. Fnatic with a picture-perfect dive.
Great early game start from Fnatic here, and we saw this exact kind of thing in the Origin game. Origin is a top 3 team in the league, a really, really tough opposition. Going into this Schalke game here, they're looking to repeat the success they had before.
So look at this one more time. It's a flash over Upset into immediate hook and E stun. Reckless also holds tower aggro there for quite a long time so that they can get the damage off from the Rek'Sai.
Oh my word, Odo was forced to flash top lane as well. Literally everybody on Schalke was forced to lose their flash, all their laners, at least within the first 5 minutes. And Fnatic not afraid to pull the trigger.
Yeah, Nemesis is about to hit level 6 too within the next minute and a half as well. So this game is about to explode, I feel like, in the next couple minutes.
If I'm Broxah or Nemesis, I'm absolutely salivating right here, knowing that literally every single laner on Schalke's side has no escape summoners up anymore. You really have the pick of the litter.
Yeah, and Trick is going to have to be able to track, you know, when a minion wave is building up and trying to collapse into an enemy tower. That is when we expect to see Fnatic try to find a play like this. And anytime one of those large waves will be coming in, Trick has to be there to support them.
And of course, one of the things that we kind of overlooked a touch, but Sylas running into Schalke, there's a number of ultimates to steal that can be very impactful. If this Sylas gets his hands on a Slicing Maelstrom, in addition to all of the engage and the kill a threat on the Fnatic squad, it is terrifying. Hylissang and Broxah, they come up to help Nemesis. As the wave was pushed in just a little, it's now bouncing back towards Reckless.
Yeah, I think if we look, you know, 20 minutes down the road, how does Fnatic try to find a team fight? They don't have the best initiation tools. They will have some things like Nemesis with the Phage. We know he is going Triforce, so we expect rapid fire cannon, so the long-range gold card is a possibility. But the way Bwipo uses that ultimate steal to find a cannon ult or to find a Realm Orb will be so key.
All right, a very nice bone skewer into the Boomerang Blade. Trick takes a ton of damage, and while Fnatic may not have the strongest sort of team fight initiation, the ability to find picks with the likes of that Pyke, with the Twisted Fate, with the Rek'Sai combination means anytime this Kennen or this Ryze happens to be in one of those side lanes, the later stages of the game, there is always the threat of getting picked off.
Yeah, Fnatic have an exceptional go button in their comp as well with this Sivir ulti. So we were talking about how you can steal the Slicing Maelstrom. How about combining Slicing Maelstrom with the Sivir ulti? That is a ridiculous engage tool right there. And Hylissang with his Moby boots, with his roaming potential as well, going for another play.
He is indeed. No Ragnarok available. Trick forced to flash, and we get big chance here. I definitely think the Berlin house is Fnatic favored today.
I have a question.
Tell me.
How many flashes are available for Schalke right now?
I don't know. Tell me the answer.
Literally none.
0 out of 4.
That's a good job because Fnatic keep finding the positive plays. Obviously, we are talking a lot from Fnatic's perspective because they're the ones making the proactive plays. So there's the Destiny and the Gate and the gold card. And that's it. One dead pigeon. Upset goes down for the second time.
He choked on the rice. He's done so.
Oh man, Fnatic, they are finding their mark. Still about a minute before the flash comes up there for Upset. And what do we say? When you hit level 6 on the Twisted Fate, it becomes so easy. You'll notice the wave is pushing out. So Trick is down here. He's doing everything right. But the fact that you have a Ryze versus a TF ult is just higher range. He had the push there as well. So there's just no chance. It is a 4 versus 3, and Schalke just have to run.
And it is the fact you don't have your flashes up. So you are genuinely just sitting ducks here for the target of Fnatic, and just these guys pounce on Schalke is really impressive for them to have that pressure to blow those summoners first, and you're really seeing the fruits of being rewarded here right now.
No flashes, no ultimates. At 8.5 minutes, Fnatic have got a 1,500 gold lead. They've got 2 kills secured, 1 for Broxah, 1 for Hilly. And of course, it is pretty much predominantly all happened in that bottom lane. But again, Bwipo is just going toe-to-toe with Odoamne. He's going to look for the kill. One more auto is all that's needed. And Bwipo does it. Now, Trick, he fancies himself a shot. The hijack is on cooldown, but he's not going to pick the fight.
Yeah, level 6 to level 8. Trick is going to do nothing there. Bwipo finds the solo kill. And now there are 3 members of Fnatic around this mid lane as well. They just do not want to slow down at all.
That is such an underrated ultimate to steal for Bwipo as well, to get the Ragnarok from Trick, because it means that Odoamne can't put his own ultimate down as a defensive tool to protect himself, because Bwipo can't be CC'd, so he just runs up to him, gets the solo kill.
And look at the minimap once again. Broxah is making his way down. Hylissang coming up from behind. Ignore and Upset. They do have a wave to push out. I was waiting to see if any move was being made. Teleport for Nemesis is available.
Yeah, down in that bottom lane, Upset is still level 5. No access to that Feather Storm. So right now, Trick needs to be on a beeline to get down here and cover this super vulnerable bot lane.
Okay, Upset has got his flash once again. That is up. And Fnatic still looking. They're literally fishing for kills and opportunities.
It's so smart too, because they're just running around with Broxah and Hylissang looking for picks.
Well, there's the Ghost Water dive, but you can't catch the Ragnarok. Fury's bite comes down, just not enough damage. They got Trick until the unburrow. Broxah goes in with the ultimate, trades his life 1 for 1 as Abbedagge gets on the board for Schalke.
I'm not sure if that was worth it, but Broxah is not a coward, and I respect that.
He dove pretty deep on that one. Abbedagge is getting caught out here as well.
He is indeed. The Bone Skewer comes out, and despite the gold card tagging, there wasn't a minion wave to continue the dive. Fnatic, they're just unrelenting on the pressure.
And that's exactly what they need to be doing with this composition. This is a snowball style of comp where you use your pick tools with the Pike and the Rek'Sai in the early game to snowball, to burn the summoner spells, to open up the map so that Nemesis can just take over whenever his ult is off cooldown. And guess what? Look at him. His ult is coming back once again.
It's so impressive the way they play this, though. They are just absolutely fearless in these plays. That is a flash from Hylissang, a flash from Broxah, when you know full well you're going up against a target that literally cannot be CC'd, and then the double tower dive in mid lane. It's like Fnatic have one gear forward and they're stuck. It's just going forward, and Schalke are really struggling.
I do like this move here, though, from Schalke, immediately trying to get back onto the map and take something for themselves, because they're down 2.7 thousand gold at the moment, and now with the Rift Herald, they can try to get some gold back, and I think they need to put more resources into the top lane. When I look at late game, mid game team fighting for Schalke, I think you need to have a massive Kennen ult. The rest of the team is far behind. I think Abbedagge is in a decent spot, but with the damage you're lacking from bot lane, you need the AoE threat from a Kennen.
And you mentioned it in the early game with the ADTF and how Triforce is a very good item for him. He has just completed it. So now Nemesis here is going to be throwing out those, the stacked deck is going to be coming out even faster. Still gets the Sheen hit as well for the extra damage. he's looking pretty strong right now.
Yeah, absolutely, and he's enabling the entire team. If you take a look down kill participation, 3 of the 4 kills for Broxer, 3 of the 4 kills for Hylissang. This tower's going to fall. It's the first of the game in favor of Fnatic. They get all the plates, and Reckless right now is up 30 CS over Upset, 1,400 gold. Now, fortunately for Schalke, no fear, they will find themselves this Rift Herald play up in the top lane. And it looks like Whipper will be just a little late to the party. So there'll be 3 plates potentially picked up by Schalke if they can stick around. No, they can't just yet because Whipper will clear out the way very quickly.
Yeah, the threat of a cannon ult, too, under that tower, if they were to try and stay up for 1 extra auto attack, would mean that he could instantly pop that, try to clear the wave, and even CC them down while the rest of Fnatic is moving up here to cover top.
I also wonder how much of this is a psychological game right now for Schalke.
Ooh, let's take a look. Hylissang's come up. Hilly, Whippo, Reckless making their way forward. Death from below goes in already. Greenheld is in a little bit of trouble. Hylissang's running for his life. He's dropping low, needs to get out of vision. That's another. Trick takes down Hilly. And Schalke, they're able to respond quickly enough to turn around.
Yeah, Schalke are able to find that response there, but Hylissang was going for the montage play. Using his ult as a gap close is something that can sometimes work, but against the threat of Schalke moving so many members up there with the teleport from Upset, bringing Ignar in there as well, it was just too much and too far for Hilly.
Yeah, I mentioned they have 1 gear right now, the forward gear, and it kind of bit them a little bit right there for Fnatic. Obviously, they're still very much in control of this game right now, but they do need to be careful. For Schalke, this is their way back into the game, punishing the overextension from Fnatic.
It needs to happen so much more, though. I mean, another turret plate here falls just as we're getting close to 14 minutes. Fnatic 4,000 gold up at 13 minutes on the clock. And Abadage will not be able to stop this. If he gets caught by a gold card, I fancy Fnatic will dive. It has just been thrown onto the tower instead. 1 more turret plating will drop. Split the gold. Bone Skewer found Abadage. Ignite thrown down. Gold card followed up. Unbarrow and a bite. And another kill to Fnatic.
You called the quick shot, 1 gold card, and Abadage drops.
Hylissang is making play after play after play on this Pike right here. He's absolutely terrifying. And this was the montage play you're talking about, how you lead with your E and then ulti. Use it as a gap closer to get that instant stun. Didn't quite work out in this time though. Schalke with a really good turnaround. All 5 members in that top side were able to repel Fnatic's play.
And you can see sort of situationally in these team fights for Schalke, they have a lot of good zone control with the feathers from the Featherstorm as well as Yumi's ultimate. You can control wide areas and make it difficult for Fnatic to try and walk into you, especially because Fnatic don't really have a true tank frontline. It's very hard for them to approach some of the disengaged tools of Schalke.
I think Fnatic will be pretty happy with not taking team fights against Schalke unless, of course...
That's not a cat!
No, it is not.
That's a person!
Final chapter was stolen away.
Cats are people too, Ender.
Well, all right.
Next level.
If you say so.
Fnatic, with their stolen kitty cat ultimate, will push Schalke away, and they just push this gold lead further. And as we said a few times, you know, one gear or one direction. It's just playing proactive, playing forward, forcing Schalke's hand, and Schalke have not had an answer. Another tower's going to fall. This is the second of the game. And just as we've gone past the 15-minute mark, Fnatic are simply obliterating Schalke.
Well, the thing is, it's really hard for Schalke to do much of anything in a game like this, because when you fall this far behind, usually with a team as a rise, you know, you're thinking, okay, maybe we can use the Realm Warp to collapse on a side lane and to find a fight with a numbers advantage. But because there's a Twisted Fate on the other side, Fnatic can just react to anything Schalke throw at them, which really slows down the playmaking opportunities from this team.
This is what happens as well when you're playing versus Hylissang's Pike. It's like he has a TF ulti, because he's always just everywhere. He's always in the right place at the right time. You've got to be careful of him. And this is the thing right here. Schalke is struggling.
All right, let's take a look. Slicing Maelstrom v Slicing Maelstrom. Outlast correction stopwatch used there by Odo. Forced to flash. Whippo wins yet another fight. And as we saw just in that quick graphic, it is G2 versus Fnatic next week.
Look at this, Hylissang coming in. Odo might be in Threshold.
All right, there's the death from below. And I have a question. Can Hilly get out? We're going to find out. Undertow will tag him. Death from below, as well as the flash. But he's going to be running into Reckless, unable to get to safety. Now Reckless may be in some trouble. He flashes over the wall. Upset can't run him down. It's a fight in every single lane. The tower is just about to go, but the gold card catches Abadage. The Void Rush sends him to the fountain.
All over the map, Fnatic find their mark. Bot lane, top lane, mid lane, it doesn't matter. Fnatic, how Schalke's number.
This is such a dominant performance from Fnatic. It's why coming in to the playoffs in the 2019 spring, I thought Fnatic were one of the best teams, if not the best team coming in. I'd definitely aim on that one, but still, they look ridiculously strong, and this is... Schalke are not a bottom tier team in the LEC. They've looked really, really solid so far. But Fnatic are making this one look kind of amateur. They're just so coordinated across the entire map. It's really scary to play.
It is one of those things that we're starting to see. It's week 2. Each team will be playing 4 games. We're starting to see very clear delineations between the top of the table squads, the middle of the table squads, and the last 2. And Fnatic are very, very clearly in that top of the table. Sometimes you just got to call it as it is. And the reason I'm saying all that is just before that previous engagement, G2 were playing the next game. If they go undefeated next week, the 2 undefeated teams at 4-0 are going head-to-head. The 2 most dominant teams in Europe, Fnatic and OG, face off next week. And Fnatic, well, it'll start it here, and of course, Hilly will close it out.
Yeah, Blippo being level 11 right now, doing so much damage with that Maelstrom. And then we have to track Hylissang coming on down here. It's a pretty simple play by him, and I actually think he probably could have simply escaped here. You know, he ease over the wall, Q into the execute, and at this point, you have multiple members of Schalke collapsing. If he just flashes away from that towards the right hand of your screen, instead of going for the sick outplay juke, not only does he probably live, Reckless probably holds onto his flash too.
A lot of this as well, Fnatic's success comes from Whippo, like we saw right there, being able to set that one up. But Fnatic are unrelenting wherever they want to play this game. They did it in bot lane, they do it in the top lane, and all of it starts because they have the pressure in the mid lane. It's all going well for Fnatic.
It is indeed. Now Hylissang needs to escape. And I think what's very impressive is when the fights are happening in all those different lanes, Foxtrot, it's one-on-ones that are healthy and appropriate when junglers are sort of red. It doesn't feel like it's an overreach on the Fnatic side. Yes, they've dove a little bravely, right? But when there's multiple threats, they're just in complete control and they're pushing Schalke to the limits. It's nearly 10k up.
I think the really interesting thing that Fnatic are doing is they're playing with like 2 roamers instead of a jungle and support, right? You have Pyke shadowing one side of the lane, while Broxah shadows the other side of the map too. And because you have a Sivir in mid lane, she can push up that wave, and as soon as that wave is down, it flees up Hylissang to make the roam, to put so much pressure, to make it so Odo can't step up to the minion wave.
Yeah, look at the minimap. You've got Hylissang's Pyke in the jungle between Silas top, Sivir was mid. Then, of course, Broxah was the bottom, and it's just a lot of roaming. I mean, Hilly is dancing with death right now. Schalke, they're not going to find any.
Yeah, and the reason why Fnatic can do this is because Schalke just lack really strong engage tools. You know, how do you find a fight? You need a Realm Warp, but you need a Cannon Flake. It's so hard.
How quickly will Abbedagge die? He survives for now. Realm Warp goes out. Void Rush will tap, but Broxah that goes down. I doubted Abbedagge, and I got dunked. While that was going on, it was a kill in the top lane, as Odoamne is killed by Hylissang.
That's the thing. Fnatic make one mistake, but on the other side, they're able to find a kill. Schalke need to be able to pick one side of the map that they want to play towards. In that case, it was bot lane. Odo has to be able to back away. If they keep trading even, it's not going to be enough to get back in this one.
The thing is that Schalke, the only advantage they've been able to gain in the entirety of this game is when Fnatic just in.
Yeah.
That's what it is, right? Schalke are not able to make it for themselves right here. We're going to see Abbedagge. He's going to get dove right now, but a pretty decent outplay to realize that he's still got his flash, holding on to it for the right time, not taking the Realm Warp because he knows, wait a second here, Fnatic are going way too deep right now, uses the tower to get the kill.
Yeah, also all the minions were gone, so he knew that Broxah was going to be picking up that turret aggro as soon as Nemesis walked away. So he says, no, I don't need to go in the Realm Warp. It becomes easy for him, and now Schalke are trying to group up to find something in the mid lane. That's a hopeful ultimate out of the cap, though.
It really is. Odoamne, no slicing, Maelstrom, teleport is up. And Schalke managed to get away with it. No further punish. Nemesis, though, considering going for Odo instead. Throws the gold card on the tower. That's the 5th tower secured at 21 minutes. 2 dragons, 8 kills to 4. And Fnatic are just really, really far ahead. It is up to them just to figure out how they want to push into the base.
Yeah, notice it's a wit's end there for Nemesis as well. So less looking for the pick options with a rapid fire cannon and much more about playing the split push style that Fnatic has sometimes struggled with in the past. This is usually a team fight team. Even last week, I believe, against Misfits, when they had split push options, they relied on team fighting at the end of the day. So it's nice to see them committing more to a very different style than what they're used to.
Yeah, and that wit's end is going to get efficiency from mid lane, from Abu Dhabi and from Odo Amne as well as Nemesis.
Running him down. I mean, look at that auto attack speed from the Wit's End. Defensive flash from Odo. Not going to be able to find the kill. Here comes Hilly. Death from below and flash. Death from below and flash. Do it, do it, do it. Not going to do it. I was really hoping.
He's going to do it.
Yes! But he missed. He missed.
You
baited him.
Because he did what you wanted
That
to
is
do.
not my fault.
That's
Don't put that on
100%
me.
your fault.
Do not put that. Would Mickey have missed? Not fair. Do not put that on me. Hillisang, you went for the play. And actually, I think this might be like a third umpire review.
Right.
Should the kill have happened? Because Hilly may have landed. This is a joke. This is not the reason they've paused. Please don't quote me on that.
Time to file an official complaint. I listened to him and he's full of rubbish.
But again, I think that single moment where Hilly flashed Death from Below's over the base wall to try find the kill or to try get the tag, it's a good summary of how this game has gone for the last 20 minutes.
I mean, Fnatic have been doing it the whole game, right? Brox has had 2 ults underneath tower that have resulted in him dying, but it speaks to how confident they are in this game. And with the style of comp that they've drafted, it is just, you want to keep running at them, you know? You're going to get kills more often than not, so you can take a little risk.
At this point in the game as well, Baron is on the cards, and if this wasn't a hard game already for Schalke, it's now going to get even harder because Fnatic are going to play around the vision, around the Baron, push out that mid lane with Sivir, and then it forces Schalke to come towards the Baron area to face check in that fog of war, and we've already seen that Fnatic are really good at picking off Schalke. It's going to be even easier for them to do that if Schalke are meals on wheels for them.
This is one of those games where because of the meals on wheels and because of the fact that Fnatic are so fed, everything we have said for 20 minutes has been from their perspective because they have been making the plays, they have been starting the initiations, they've been finishing almost all of them. And I just have to put myself in Schalke's shoes, and they have been bullied and beaten up across the map since minute 1 of this game. Comeback mechanics feel nigh impossible at this stage. And, you know, Schalke have just been outclassed today.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they have a style of composition that works very well when ahead, not so well when behind, though.
Well, running. Nemesis can't quite burn through that shield yet. As soon as one other member of Fnatic rocks up, I mean, one-on-one, Fnatic are just winning in every lane. They've got the gold advantage, the experience advantage. Brox is going to steal away that red buff just as well.
Yeah, and to go into Schalke's comp a little bit more in depth here, I think a large reason why it does look so like such a struggle when they are behind is because they rely so much on like movement speed, right? Of an Olaf running you down, of a Yuumi speeding up a cannon to try and get into a fight. Their engage tools are very unreliable, so they want time to build up items on their Xayah, on their Ryze, where they can try to kite back maybe and then use a big cannon ult in a team fight, but it's just not been a game where they have a chance against Fnatic.
Yeah, they didn't get the time to farm anything. I mean, plus 30 CS for Whipper in the top lane, plus 40 CS for Nemesis, who, by the way, finished his rapid-fire cannon. So get a couple of long-range gold cards now. Good luck defending the next towers. Down in the bottom lane, plus 45 CS for Reckless. You know, the map belongs to Fnatic and Foxtrot. Now Fnatic are threatening Baron. They've got Destiny up for Nemesis, but he doesn't have his teleport. So let's see whether or not this Realm Warp will work out. Gold card is primed. Nobody from Schalke follows
But
it.
you can see on the minimap, as soon as there's even a whiff of Schalke playing towards that bot side, Fnatic bomb it towards the Baron. That's all they have to do this game.
The cojones on Hillisang. He just ran in between Schalke.
Look at the Baron, though.
Destiny was used. 2 manning. It is on there. That's a stolen away. Slicing Maelstrom. Odo one that goes down. That's a solo kill. Buipo with a small blip. He will go down 1 for 1. But the Baron goes the way of Fnatic. And Hillisang is lingering around. If anybody sticks out, he might look for another kill.
Yeah, Hillisang and Nemesis just on distraction duty, pretending to get caught in the mid lane while the rest of the team commits towards that Baron. Now with a split push style composition with that Baron, but Fnatic should be looking to use this to break open the base and look for an end.
Yeah, Nemesis is already chipping away at this inhibitor tower right here. What's he going to do with a Baron
Look
buff?
at Hillisang.
Man, Hillisang does not want to
Does
back
he
it.
realize he's a support player, by the way?
What I will be pitching when we
Been watching
get
too much D2.
When we get to week 3 planning and we start researching what content we want, I'm going to ask the question of who is the best pike in Europe.
It's Hillisang.
And we're going to have
No, it's
to...
Hillisang.
You have to
No,
prove
really,
it
it's Hillisang.
next week.
No, I'm
right?
telling you, it's Hillisang.
I don't spoil the ending of the segment, Ender. Well, Fnatic are up 14k gold. And Hylissang is solo in the bottom lane.
Yeah, this is actually classic Hylissang too. He was doing this back in 2018 when Pyke first came out because you're so elusive with, you know, the invisibility from your W, the movement from your E as well. All you have to do is sit down here, buff up the wave, and you're effectively a stronger split pusher than Odoamne's Kennen, who's level 13 at the moment, as opposed to the soul laners of Fnatic, 15 on Bwipo, 16 on Nemesis. That's a mile-wide gap.
I'll be honest though, I'd prefer if he did it sitting with Bwipo because Bwipo doesn't have Baron buff. That way I think you're spreading out the Baron buff across all of your lanes, which would make it even stronger for Fnatic's push. But you're right, Hylissang with the way that he pilots this Baron buff on the Pyke, terrifying. Yeah,
and Fnatic know that with the limited engage from Schalke, they can split all 3 lanes. They go 1-2-2 at the moment to get maximum turret damage when possible. You can see Schalke run at them but can't do much. Now Realm Warp to go on the tower.
All right, Realm Warp onto the tower. Bwipo hijack that one away, gets a couple extra chunks. Now it's Schalke, last-ditch effort. They're down 14,000 gold. Odoamne's the only one. Flash away from Rekkles. Now Odo is in trouble. He will get taken out. Rekkles takes him down. Nemesis finds a long-range gold card onto Trick, who's holding on to his ulti. Destiny to the bottom lane because it's about the map, the towers, and not the kill.
Nemesis just pieced out of there. He knows this tower is so low. He's going to be able to knock it out. And look at that. Hylissang back up into the top lane. This is a full court press, and there is nothing Schalke can do.
Look at the way they're being pulled around the map right now. It is so hard to play this game for Schalke. They keep trying to force the engages. It's not working. Fnatic are perfectly happy to play this one out as it is.
Yeah, they really are. The moment this map was opened up and the towers fell, Fnatic just found a hole of the gear. There's no answer from Schalke because they want a straight-up team fight. Bwipo assassinates Upset. Fnatic are now onto the Nexus turret at 26.5 minutes. Trick is trying to run forward, but there's no answers.
No, there isn't. Odoamne spawned. He has his flash, but no Maelstrom, so Fnatic can just keep pushing forward, keep poking out, go for the kills.
Death from below will pick up one as Rekkles gets another into the fountain. The Bone Skewer will pull Trick back, and now Ignore on the kitty cat is the last man standing. Fnatic are waiting and fancying themselves a dive. Fnatic undefeated after 2 weeks.
What a clean game coming out of the orange and gold right there. Orange and gold, same color.
Confident game.
Confident, clean. It was, well, yeah.
Clean as a ball.
Baby.
Word,
you know what? I would say semi-clean game.
I would call it a spicy game. They had some sweet picks. They played super, super fast. And the way they played every single map left them vulnerable at sometimes. They made some mistakes, but at the end of the day, the pace that they kept was just impossible for Schalke to deal with.
It is a super challenging game if you're a fan of Schalke and in Schalke's shoes, because the moment the first few kills rolled in, Broxah and Nemesis did a really good job of making sure that that bottom lane from Fnatic got ahead. Then Hylissang instantly started roaming and repaying the favor, paying it forward to every other lane.
Yeah, I mean, in every single lane, pre-5 minutes, they lost their flashes. So what's going to happen when this TF hits level 6? You're just going to repeatedly die and die and die, and that's what happened to Schalke.
Yeah, this game was pure elementary for Fnatic. The way they executed this game was actually really, really impressive as well. I think for me, if Fnatic want to establish themselves as contender of like that the number 2 spot in Europe next to G2, then a game like this really makes me rate them really high.
Undefeated 4-0 for Fnatic. Nemesis was just on your screen a moment ago. Ender, you called the 80 Twisted Fate in drafts. It looked fantastic to me. Will we see it more in the future?
I think it's possible, especially as an answer into the Rise pick, to match global pressure and to actually have better global pressure at the level 6 point. When you want to hard commit to camping one of those side lanes, I think the Twisted Fate has a lot of value, and specifically against a champion like the Yuumi here, I think it's almost a perfect fit.
Wow, fantastic performance from Fnatic. Literally every single player, and of course all the fans here in Berlin, very, very excited and cheering loud. And now Schalke go back to the drawing board. Outclassed today. Got a lot to figure out when they look forward to week 3. Last week before we go to Rift Rivals. And we got some key up player of the game nominees for you. Broxah, Nemesis, or Hylissang at LOL Esports on Twitter. This is actually a super tough one for me because all 3 of them were pivotal, especially once those towers fell. You talked about shadowing. If you're just going to say Hylissang, then I may have to pass.
I'm not. I was actually going to say that Bwipo just got robbed because he got like multiple solo kills in that game.
But was he the reason they won the game?
I mean, I thought Kennen was probably Schalke's best chance at coming back into it, and he just bodied him in the 1v1, which was really impressive.
Yeah, I think Brippo actually set up Fnatic for a lot of
he's not
success.
on the boat.
But out of the three here, I think, anytime Hillsang gets Pyke, I just know I'm going to enjoy watching the game. And this was no exception.
What is special about Hylissang's Pyke that differentiates it from, let's say, Mickey's?
So I think there's a lot of cool things. The most signature Hylissang thing, though, is the split push that we saw later on. I don't see a lot of other Pyke players doing it, but it's something that when I was actually testing Pyke was so ridiculously frustrating to deal with, and I think it's something that a lot of other Pyke players should learn from and do themselves.
Oh, man. Okay, we'll have to see if everybody can. You guys at home will have to let us know your thoughts. And who is the best Pyke? I'm going to ask someone other than Ender next weekend. And, of course, yeah, just a fantastic performance from Fnatic. It sets us up next week for Fnatic versus G2. G2 will be playing the next game. I mean, this is a lot of hype. You mentioned number 1 and number 2. Is there a clear gap from 1 and 2 to everybody else? Where does Origin sit in your scale?
For me, I'm thinking there's 1, 2, and 2.5. That's kind of how I'm looking at it right now with Origin. But I don't think there's anything. I mean, we're in week 2. This is week 2, right? We're in week 2. There's nothing. Nothing's being set in stone right now. But I do think that performance right there, Schalke is not a bad team, by the way.
Yeah.
That's what I think is most impressive about it.
Yeah, they're not, but they got made to look like it.
Exactly.
Just because of how well Fnatic played. Well, look, you'll have to tune in next week to see Fnatic again. For now, though, let's hear from Hylissang.